From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Thank God it's Friday!
Yeah, we've got another week in the rear view, but boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. So grab a brew and some nuts because we're about to go on another action-packed adventure.
Let's do it.
Here's what's on tap on the Wrap. Who throws a sandwich? Really? Is Trump wasting time with rootin' tootin' Putin today? Another Democrat goes rat shit crazy we'll tell you about. California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom's jazz hands were performing overtime on Thursday. We'll tell you what's up with that rat bastard. And Ozzy Osbourne. The stories keep coming, and I've got a good one for you today about Oz. Another round of head trauma's on the way. Today, we're going to play It Sounds Dirty, but It's Not. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including the Friday Mo-Fuggin' Funny. That's what's up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Friday, August 15th. What do you say we get you ready for the weekend? What do you say? All right, this weekend on the Rat's Ass Rock TV, it's our Best Of series. It continues with the Best of the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters. You can watch a dozen of the Foo's most popular videos as voted on by Foo Fighter fans. You can connect to our YouTube channel on the hub at ratsasspodcast.com. All right, let's get into the wrap. I got a quick question for you to ponder this weekend. And if you feel like shooting me an email, go right ahead. Is a protest a legitimate protest if the protesters get paid for protesting? Think about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, Sean Charles Dunn, 37-year-old lawyer working for the DOJ, Department of Justice, was fired after he threw a sandwich at an ICE officer. Maybe you saw the video on this. He walked up to the ICE officers, yelled some obscenities at them, and finished them off with a Subway turkey sandwich. Then he tried to run away. Oh, only in D.C. Crazy leftist lawyer. He was also charged with a felony, by the way. Now, I think losing his job was probably punishment enough, but I think the DOJ is probably going to make an example out of him. I heard someone say that Dunn better hope he doesn't end up in a cell with Jersey Mike. That was a good one. All right, President Trump is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin today to try and start the process of ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, personally, I kind of think it's a waste of time because if Trump has the option of bankrupting Russia, why not just bankrupt them? We've done it before. Let's do it again. You could end the war and slay Russia at the same time. So maybe this is what Trump is really working towards. And maybe he's just giving rootin' tootin' Putin a chance to save face. But maybe the end goal is to slay Russia and end the war that way by bankrupting them. But let's just get after it if we're going to do it. All right, William Mullins McLeod. Remember that name. He's a Democratic candidate for governor in South Carolina. Well, he was arrested for running down a street wearing only his underwear and shouting he was God and Superman. Now, they knew he was a Democrat because he had tidy whities on, but... I got to ask, where do the Democrats find these nuts? I mean, I thought Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, Hakeem Jeffries, and Gavin Newsom were bad. And now we're dealing with Zohran Mamdani and this McLeod character. And speaking of Mamdani, too, by the way, did you see where this jackass had an assistant holding a handheld fan up to his face to keep him cool during a speech yesterday? Yeah. Now, I got this vision that if he gets elected mayor of New York, he's probably going to have a harem of women in his office. He'll have a reserved parking spot for his magic carpet, and you'll have 4 guys carrying him around on a palanquin. Yeah. Now, not to be outdone, California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom was working his jazz hands, pissing and moaning about, guess who? The man who lives rent-free in his head 24/7, Donald J. Trump. Yeah, he was complaining because ICE agents showed up outside of a speech he was giving in L.A. yesterday. And, there was probably some political gamesmanship going on there, but he really took it to heart, man. Now, I do find it interesting how Newsom has decided to take on Texas over their redistricting because it gets him out of doing his job as governor of California. But he's saying that it's, that it's immoral, that it's illegal. So what does he do? He wants to redistrict California. Okay, so it's terrible, it's awful, it's illegal, immoral if Texas does it. But if the Democrats do it, it's strategic. I kid you not, man. God bless. One guy said Newsom and Texas Governor Greg Abbott going at it was like 2 fat guys fighting over a ham sandwich, and it's pretty much true. But I kind of imagine Gavin went home last night. He had a hell of a day, probably really tired, and his wife Jennifer asked him, "How was your day, honey bunny?"
My pussy hurts.
there has been a lot of discussion about crime and murder, how the rates are being illegitimate now. One D.C. commander, Michael Pullum, was placed on leave for falsifying crime stats to make D.C. look safer than it really was or is, leading to Trump's 30-day takeover of D.C. Now, for shots and goggles, I took a chat GPT test here, got on the chat and asked for a list of the top 10 cities with the worst murder rates in America. They are in order: St. Louis, Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Kansas City, Memphis, Newark, New Jersey, and Chicago. Those were the top 10. D.C. not mentioned in the top 10, nor was New York. So, boy, nothing, those two cities not being in the top 10, L.A. not being in the top 10 too, by the way. That tells me that somebody's been cooking the murder books. But what do all of these cities have in common, too? All the 10 that ChatGPT brought up, just eliminating L.A., D.C., and New York. All Democratic-led. They all have Democratic mayors, and so does New York, Los Angeles, and D.C. Do you see a pattern here? God, I sure do. All right, Ozzy Osbourne has been gone for about 3 weeks now, and not a day goes by where I don't hear something about Ozzy I wasn't aware of. Did you know that Ozzy, when he was 17 years old, was arrested for robbing a clothing store? And his father refused to pay his fine and let Ozzy spend 6 weeks in the clink. Yeah. Now, Ozzy credits this for scaring him straight, leading him to focus on music, because he was a very unfocused teen, I guess. But think of the chain of events in his life if he didn't do the time. I mean, we probably would never have Black Sabbath. Metal would have never been born. He never meets Sharon and has a lot of kids. I think he has 4 kids. And, of course, Randy Rhoads would probably still be alive.
Holy shit!
If I had a face like his, I'd shave my butt and walk backwards.
You don't have a butt.
Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
A butt? Let's see what that looks like. All right, who's ready for some football? Another weekend full of preseason NFL football is on the docket, starting tonight with Tennessee playing Atlanta. Kansas City is at Seattle. My Raiders will be playing, who are they playing? San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. Got to tell you, though, I'm jacked up for this season, man. I really am, because I feel optimistic for the first time in years about the Raiders' chances. You think about all the moves they've made. Pete Carroll, a 2-time NCAA champion at USC, Super Bowl winner at Seattle. A huge upgrade, don't you think, from Antonio Pierce and Josh McDaniels? Oh, what a nightmare those two were. Pete's not going to be that way. Bring some class to the organization. Geno Smith, solidifying the quarterback position. I'm reading a lot of smack about Geno. I'm telling you, gang. I'm telling you, he's going to be a top 10 QB this year. Okay? Adding running back Ashton Genty, rebuilding the defense around Max Crosby. Then when you think about the Raiders' kicking game between Carlson and Cole, one of the best in the game. Man, I just can't wait for September 7th, man. They traveled to New England to play the Patriots. Now, USA Today picked the Raiders to finish last in the AFC West, winning only 5 games. And at first, I got hot and bothered by that. Then I realized, well, it's USA Today, and that's like taking a Hyundai or a Kia Series for being an automobile. So we'll just forget that USA Today even brought it up. All right, let's check out the Rat's Ass Sports chat box here. Get a couple of emails. All right, Scotty Andrus, Dayton, Ohio, said, I was shocked to hear someone who lives in L.A. is a Reds fan. Well, it goes back a long way. I grew up near Pittsburgh, so that's why I'm a Reds fan. Long story there. How do you think the Reds bullpen will shake out once Nick Lodolo returns from the IL? Well, the first move I think they have to move is Martinez to the 8th spot, replacing the chef, Tony Santillan. Then I would say, keep Barlow in the 6th, Ashcraft pitching the 7th, Martinez in the 8th, and we'll go to the Pagan Ritual in the 9th inning as closer. That's the way I would shake it out. All right, Randy Kingman, Annapolis, Maryland, says, who is your favorite to win the NCAA football championship this year? It's so hard to tell. I mean, every year now, because of all the realignment, Randy, it's going to be the same 5 to 8 teams battling it out every year. Right now, I think the preseason poll has Texas number 1. I think it was Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia, I think, were the top 5. I was like, oh, Clemson's in the top 5. Really? Yeah. I would think Notre Dame would be in there. But, Texas number one. I'll go ahead and say Texas because I'm curious to see how Arch Manning performs as a starter this year. He's redshirted 1 year, played a couple of years back up. He's the son of Cooper Manning, by the way, not Peyton or Eli. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I would say the odds-on favorite right now is Texas. But Ohio State's never too far away. Damn good program there at OSU. All right, that's sports for you on the Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, let's play. It sounds dirty, but it's not. I'll give you 3 clues to guess what I'm describing here. Clue number one, I was made for rubbing. Clue number 2, I'm good for those who like it rough. And clue number 3, I can really work your wood. All right, it sounds dirty, but it's not. What is it? Take a while, think about it, and I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Yes, it is. It is finally Friday, and that means it's time for the Friday Mo-fucking Funny. If this guy wasn't funny, he'd probably be carjacking politicians in D.C. This is Dave Chappelle.
I said, I need a gun immediately. The guy didn't answer, no questions. He just grabbed a 12-gauge shotgun, handed it to me. I'd never even held a gun before. I'm not a dummy. I'm like, well, I need some bullets too. And the guy reached under the counter, put 2 box of shells on the counter. He said, all right, buddy, which box do you want? I didn't know. One box had a picture of some ducks on it. The other box had a picture of some deer. I said, well, what's that box with them ducks? He said, oh, that there's birdshot. And then he goes just like this. I'm not exaggerating. He goes, that won't kill a man. He said, it'll just pepper him up nicely. I said, what the fuck? Pepper? I said, well, what's that box with the deer on it? He goes, oh, that there's buckshot. That'll put a hole in the goddamn truck if you wanted to. So which box do you want? And he picked the one with the deer up and shook it. I thought he was trying to trick me. I was like, do you have a box with a picture of a white dude trespassing on it? Because it's exactly the
Hey,
strength I'm
heads
looking
up.
for.
Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, President Trump announced the 48th recipients of the Kennedy Honors for the Performing Arts for 2025. They are Sly Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, Michael Crawford, Tony Award-winning actor, country singer George Strait, and the rock band Kiss. The original members, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss. And guess what? Guess who went rat shit crazy? The Democrats. Yeah, they started pissing and moaning about it and trying to get Gloria Gaynor to refuse to accept, but she survived. Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner, appeared on the Seth Meyers show last night, and she told the story about how she broke up an A-list couple's engagement simply by waving at the guy. Now, Turner said she didn't realize she had that kind of power, but she wouldn't mention who the couple was because she said she would get in trouble. Now, in Hollywood, when a guest won't name names, it means it's all bullshit, so the guest has something juicy to talk about. But she did make the trades, and there are people out there right now who are thinking, oh, God, who did she break up? Who are the A-listers? So they bought it. She got the hook in the mouth. Yep. Ex-Saturday Night Live comedian Pete Davidson revealed that he suffered mentally from his breakup with Ariana Grande, thanks her to announcing to the world that he was well endowed. He said he felt people talking about it overshadowed his body of work. So what does Pete do? He brings it up again so he can relive the misery. He's also spending $200,000 to get his tattoos removed. And our girl Britney Spears did it again. During a hot dance performance on Instagram, she had a wardrobe malfunction while she was gyrating to a Janet Jackson tune, and her nipples fell out of her dress. Yes, they did. But she covered them up in the video that she posted on Instagram with those yellow flower images, but I'm thinking this was done on purpose. I mean, follow me here. She has a wardrobe malfunction, dancing to a Janet Jackson tune, who also had a wardrobe malfunction, dancing with Britney's ex, Justin Timberlake, at the Super Bowl in 2004. So do you think it was put on or not? I think it is. But I'm a conspiracy theorist anyway. But by the way, Britney has now been single for 177 frickin' days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Well, she does, probably.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, let's do it. Let's get you into the answers here. We're playing It Sounds Dirty, But It's Not. Did you figure it out? What the clues were? Listen to them again. I was made for rubbing. I'm good for those who like it rough. and I can really work your wood. All right. Did you say sandpaper?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, if you got it right, congratulations. If you missed it, go see your doctor about your head trauma and get well soon.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can read them rapid fire and on the fly. No topic is ever off the table. Wes K. from Shreveport, Louisiana said, what'd you think about James Carville's nuclear option in 2028 if the Democrats win back the presidency, the House, and the Senate? You mean the one where making D.C. and Puerto Rico states, picking the Supreme Court with 13, or packing the Supreme Court with 13 justices to save our democracy? Well, first, we know that the Democrats talk about saving democracy. What they really mean is saving the Democratic Party. They just want one party, one rule. That's all they want. They don't care about anybody else. They just want to have all the power. No offense, Wes, but Carville's brain is rotting from sniffing too much Louisiana swamp ass as far as I'm concerned. All right, Brenda H., Gary, Indiana said, I read on X that you took 2 girls to your senior prom in high school. What's the story behind that? Well, it's a true story. I basically wanted to make a statement. So I rented a really cool tux, hustled up a limo, and walked into my senior prom with the homecoming queens from our 2 rival schools. Yeah, I did that. That's how you make a statement at your prom. The last thing you do before you leave the halls. Yeah, it pissed off the girls from my high school, though, because it meant a girl from our school didn't get to go, and they let me hear about that. But I told them, I said, hey, my prom, my memories, my rules. Right or wrong, I think it was the way to make a statement. And you know what? They're still talking about it today, so I think it worked. All right, Justin C., Katy, Texas. How close is real radio compared to the movie Private Parts? Wow, that's the Howard Stern movie released in 1997. That movie was set in the late 70s, early 80s, and it is a damn straight on... Yeah, it replicated radio the way it was back in the day. Absolutely. All of it, probably true, knowing Stern's show. But yeah, radio as a whole, it was just crazy that way. Now, if you really want to know the radio business, what it was like back in the day prior to corporate takeover, where they took out all the fun, brought in HR departments, you want to watch the movie FM. It was released in 1978. Talk Radio, Eric Bogosian's in that one. That was, I'm going to say, early 80s. That was released, maybe. And Private Parts, of course. Between those 3 movies, you'll get a sense of what radio was like back in the day. David O., Naples, Florida, said, I'm one of the Gen Z who met and married my wife at work. We still work together, and our employer has no issues with it because we were upfront about the relationship. So I disagree that it's always a bad idea to date people you work with. Now, again, if you haven't heard, that's a stern rule of mine. You don't date people that you work with. But Dave, here's the deal. There are exceptions to every rule, and maybe you're the exception to this. And I do wish you both the best, but God help you if you both end up in divorce court. All right, Fiona S., San Diego, California, said, regarding parents going to jail for crimes committed by their kids, I'm all for it becoming a nationwide law. She says, I'm a mother of 3 teens, and their friends run willy-nilly with no supervision. I fear my kids will go down for something illegal they do by association. Yeah, that's a good point, Fiona. That could happen. I mean, if they hotwire a car and they get picked up and they're in the back seat, yeah, they're going to go down for something like that. But I think this is something that since New Jersey decided to, enact this law, maybe it's something that will roll out in time nationwide. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The more outrageous and salacious, the better. All right, I got a split for my mid-month back waxing. I donate the hair to the Maxine Waters Wig Creation Foundation. And so the next time you see Mad Max on TV, by the way, check out her wig because her head could have some of my back hair in it.
What the hell kind of joke's that?
Not a joke. I do have one more thing for you, though. Did you know the color pink is preferred 4-1 over any other color by women? And green is the least preferred color by women, unless it comes with a serial number.
Have you heard the one about the girl dressed in pink?
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
She'll make your fingers stink.
Oh, oh, that sounds exciting. Do you have one for green, too?
You bet I do see that girl dressed in green. She puts out like a Coke machine.
Alexa, why are you so nasty today?
Give me $10 and I'll make you holler.
What do we get for $20?
Hey, for $20, you can kiss them.
How about for nothing? I'll just put you on mute. Second thought, maybe she has change for a $50. All right, welcome to Rat Nation. Jeff Stromer of Martinsburg, West by God, Virginia. Amy Kemper of Dickinson, North Dakota. DeMarco Matazinski from Pueblo, Colorado, and to the Resistance. Those of you who email us but haven't joined Rat Nation yet, by the way, we're up to 481 members. Brian H., Gilbert, Arizona. Sean M. from Huntington Beach, California. And from Cape May, New Jersey, Melissa M. And around the world to listeners in Vancouver, Canada, Sydney, Australia, and Frankfurt, Germany.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
We already did the head trauma.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. I got to get some sleep. I think I had 10 hours all week. Go to ratsasspodcast.com and get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to podcasts, rock out on Rat's Ass Rock TV, read the blog. It's loaded with a lot of hot topicality, and you can still join Rat Nation without having to qualify. We'll do this again on Monday, God willing, August 18th. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.